So this is the first thing I notice. I find you to be incredibly likable. You have been booed at the last couple of press conferences. You're now apparently a heel. Why do you think that is?
You know, man, I think it's become kind of fashionable now. The first time they did it, I reacted, gave a reaction, and people were like, wow, we can actually get to this guy. And when I did that, now it's like fashionable. And Jones encourages it too, you know, because he saw that it bothered me. But it's fine. Doesn't bother me.
People booed you because is there a sense that you're criticizing a guy they like? You're filling in for Conor McGregor. Let's talk Conor McGregor. So, I mean, your basic thought on the Dana White Conor McGregor spat publicly.
Yeah. Well, first off, I do agree with what you say. You can't win in those situations.
Billionaires against millionaires.
No, it doesn't work. It's like we don't win in those situations when we take on not Dana White, but Lorenzo Fertitta and Frank Fertitta. You don't win in those situations, as you said. With that being said, Conor does carry a much heavier work schedule than we do in terms of promotion. But that's what got him to the level of where he is right now. So I guess I kind of see both sides. I see the UFC saying, this is our big show. This is the biggest show we've ever had. We need you to do your thing. But I also can see Conor saying, look, I lost to this guy before. And if I lose to him again,
my career is not the same.
It's not the same. So I get it from both sides.
Yeah, let me defend Conor McGregor here. He's saying, listen, I'm not going to compromise my prep anymore. I did for you guys last time I lost the fight. There's part of me as somebody who kind of performs every day that, well, I know that one of the things the only thing I've really ever complained about to any company I've ever worked for, don't screw my prep up. I need 2 hours to prep. Don't get in my way. So could I say that Dana White's not being flexible enough?
Well, I mean, I think because of what he's done before, if anyone was going to get leeway and some leniency, you would think it was Conor because of the numbers that he's done. But when you say don't mess with my preparation, there's an argument on the opposite side too because Nate Diaz fought on 10 days' notice. I mean, it's like there's arguments on both sides, you know? So I think that if anyone would have earned some leniency, it would have been Conor. I just think the show, UFC 200, is too big for him to take that time away.
Jon Bones Jones said he's going to annihilate you.
Yeah.
He has beaten you before. There was a time about 18 months ago, maybe, and my timeline may be off, where I thought he was going to be Tyson. I thought he was and I wasn't at this company at the time. I thought he had a Tyson quality where he was scaring other fighters. He was so intimidating. Is he the best fighter you've ever fought?
Yeah, because I've lost to him. If I lose to a guy, for a guy to beat me, I respect him immensely, his talent. You know, he's a great fighter. But to say he's going to annihilate me it's insanity. I mean, he didn't annihilate me the first time. He didn't annihilate Ovince St. Preux. So to think he's going to annihilate me and just dominate me in a way that no one really has ever done is kind of crazy to me a little bit.
You know, I met him and I liked him. I met him 2 years ago and I liked him. I thought he was funny and I thought he was smart. What do you make of what's happened a little bit to his life?
You know, man, I think honestly a lot of that stuff, you know, this is all fact. He brought it upon himself. You know, all that things that he has been through, that was all
inflicted.
You know, so for him, he seems to be doing the right thing. I don't know. I don't see John day to day, you know, but when I see him in public, he's still carrying the same type of persona that he had before whenever there were a lot of things going on in the dark. So, Colin, honestly, man, it's a hard question to answer because I really don't care. You know, like I don't care all that much about, you know, what's going on in his life, honestly. July
9th, T-Mobile Arena in Vegas, UFC 200, Jon Bones Jones and Daniel Cormier, and Daniel now joining us here in the herd. I want to go back to Conor McGregor, and, you know, it's interesting because I'm getting a lot of hate mail and a lot of pushback.
He's got a very loyal fan base. That's one thing that you can expect. And honestly, I think a lot of that played into the initial booing at that first press conference.
Because you were replacing him.
Nate Diaz. I was saying Nate Diaz was going to beat him before the fight on UFC Tonight Wednesday, and then the press conference was Friday. I did it USA Today. I was on your show that week, and I said I take Nate Diaz. And, you know, man, there's 10,000 Irish people in there, and that's their guy. He's got a very loyal fan base.
When you look at Conor McGregor and you look at his talent, you look at his flash, you look at his ego, and you look at this recent spat with Dana White, do you believe it's possible Conor McGregor, like Jon Bones Jones, that maybe he may get in his own way and we could be seeing the end of his career?
You know, we've never, no. There's a difference. You know, the things that we're dealing with McGregor, they're much different than what we're dealing with Jones. When we were dealing with Jones, it was stuff like drugs and alcohol, stuff with vehicles where he was crashing, doing. Conor doesn't do stuff like that. What Conor's doing is, Conor's literally just trying to make the most money that he could ever make possible.
Is he a money guy? Is that what he's at?
McGregor, he's after the money. He likes to compete. He loves to fight. But here, it's always about the dollar with McGregor.
Okay, let me ask Christine. You're shaking your head. What does that mean?
I actually heard some stories about him this weekend from somebody who had worked with him on a project, that he is so very much into the money that he sometimes says some things and does some things that are not great.
He's a money guy.
He's a money guy.
You know what I'm talking about.
So reality is, I'm just saying he wants to make the most money, you know?
Now, so if I love Conor, I'd say, oh, yeah, Daniel, you don't like to make money?
I do. I do like to make money. But once again, I haven't done what Conor's done in terms of pay-per-view, in terms of gate. My biggest pay-per-view I've ever had was with Jones. Jones and I did a good pay-per-view number. But even that pay-per-view number, which was huge, still paled in comparison to some of the numbers that Conor has done. What
if you were Dana White? Let me put you in Dana White's shoes. What would you do with Conor McGregor?
Honestly, man, I think I would have to take this stance, because at the end of the day, no one can become too big for the company.
Right.
Otherwise, you get into boxing, where now the fighters are promoting the fights, which that may not be a bad thing, you know, if you have a guy that can actually sell like Conor McGregor.
When do you really batten down the hatches for fighting and like just eat kale all day? Like, when does that happen?
Well, right now I'm just kind of, I had to take one more week of recovery from when I got hurt. Now I'm actually able to start training again. I'm running, starting to move light into getting started. And then 8 weeks from the fight, I'm just going to buckle down. No more TV, no more anything. I just go into camp 8 weeks and I prepare.
How much sex can you have? No, I'm asking the question. What's
sex?
Well, what's wrong with that?
Oh
Nothing's wrong with that. I mean,
I'm saying boxing. There used to be a question about.
I don't do that. I'm not a guy. I love my woman, and I'm not going to abstain.
Would you have it the night before?
No, that's too close. But
wait, why?
Just because, like, I think truthfully, like with me, I understand the thought of the laying off the sex, depriving yourself of a lot of things that make you who you are. Because even when I go to fight, Colin, like I'll fight at 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. I eat at like 4 in the afternoon, and I'm like, I'm not eating anything else, because by the time I go there, I want to be starving, because I want to feel like I'm fighting for life.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, and you deprive yourself of some of those things that
makes you angrier.
Makes you angrier.
Yeah, I get very angry if I don't.
I want to get through this fight so I can go back and be with my woman.
So, so depriving yourself of sex makes you angry.
Well, I think all guys.
I think all guys. All guys, they get angry, and also like all that stuff, the food, all that. It's like when it brings out this primal instinct in you when you take those things away from you.
How long must you abstain for before you?
45 minutes for me. If I don't, I'm just furious.
Couple days, and you're really.
A couple of days.
So you can imagine some of those boxers would stop a month before. Those guys are going crazy by the time they get to the ring.
Their poor girlfriend.
Yeah.